This is an unusual work of the week in that there's no music at all. Among Britain's many achievements, there are a number of works that, for whatever reason, didn't manage to be completed. And a lot of those are operas. There's a great box of unset libretti. And some of these, Britain didn't have much engagement with at all. They were just sent to him on spec. But others he did make certain progress towards achieving. It's a matter of some regret to Britain fans and scholars that he never carried any further his King Lear project in the mid-1960s. There was also a plan to set Anna Karenina as an opera. And there's the tantalising prospect at one stage of Britain in combination with Jane Austen, in that he had thought of setting Mansfield Park. But some projects are so weird, you can't imagine how the conversation started in the first place. And this certainly applies to Tyco the Vegan. We're in 1952. Billy Budd has been completed and premiered. Britain's just completed his Canticle 2. And with William Plumer, the novelist and a friend of Britain's, they started to work on a sci-fi opera for children. We don't know much about the plot, other than it was about a group of children who were staying together during the holidays while their parents were abroad. And at one point, they go into space and then they think about whether they're going to come back or not. Now, in case you're wondering whether April the 1st has come round a bit quick, this is actually one of those strange but true stories, and we do have archival evidence to prove it, among which is a letter from Britain to Plumer around this time. This is in March 1952, and it's been transcribed and is in Letters from a Life, Volume 4, and the editors did a certain amount of work in piecing together this unachieved project. And Britain writes to William Plumer, he's abroad at the time, "My dear William, I've been meaning to write to you for several weeks since I left, in fact, to ask you to send the first bit of Tyco the Vegan out here. I've been thinking a lot about the piece, with, I must say, increasing pleasure. I've also been considering the continuation of it, how, for instance, to get the children back to earth again." And then they discuss whether there'll be some audience participation, which there had been in a number of other Britain operas, including Let's Make an Opera. Now, although there isn't the same obvious reason for the audience to start singing in Tyco, as in Let's Make an Opera, I believe that we could evolve one. It might be something like this. The children are doubtful about whether to return to Earth or not. Either the audience is directly appealed to and sings a song about missing them, or, as Peter suggests, as part of the television idea. The audience is watched and listened to singing a similar song. We could make the song serious and unwhimsy, that I'm sure of, but it might make an effective turning point in the story. It could be rehearsed quite straight in the interval. So this reflects Britain's plans for the continuation of the story, and he asked William Plumer to send him the prologue that Plumer had already written. And we do have that. This is the only bit of the opera as such that we have. And it features a couple of characters called Spike and Jim, who are burglars planning to raid this lodge, which is run by a Miss Plato. And this is where the children are staying during the holidays. And so the story is just them bungling about in the garden and making a certain amount of noise. Some of the children come out to hear what's going on, as does Miss Plato. But that's it. So unfortunately, we don't get any of the sci-fi element of the story that might have occurred later on, was clearly planned to occur later on. And also, we don't get any of the music. As far as I know, there's no musical sketches for this piece. So this was as far as Tyco the Vegan went, and we never find out who Tyco is, why Tyco is a vegan. This was dropped shortly after March 1952, the time of this letter, in favour of Gloriana, which is the coronation opera for Elizabeth II, and they never went back to it. So it is tantalising, really, to speculate on what Britain's music might have been like, but surely it would have featured the theremin.